Alright, it's Hank here with part 3 of the full tutorial on how to get the immersion exactly right as far as Fallout 4 survival full immersion experience with better locational damage. And I'm going to redo something that didn't quite come through in the second part, and that's the Fallout 4 configuration tool, because I didn't realize that you wouldn't be able to see that behind my browser window. So I'm just going to shortcut back to that. All right, hang on. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing here is making sure that I've got the right directory. So I'm going to hit the Fallout 4 configuration tool. Okay. Now you'll remember from last time that I have my handy dandy directory key here that I can use just to make sure I don't have to navigate through everything really quick like. Okay. So let's see. On the screen you should be seeing my Fallout 4 tweaker right now. There might be a little bit of a delay, so I'm going to wait for that to pop up so I can be certain that you're seeing what I'm seeing. It's just not showing on my display capture for whatever reason. The actual tool, I can actually see it on my screen. It's just not coming up on your display. So let's try window capture. Let's see. And that will be the one. And move that up in priority. Alright, well, I cannot get the tweaker to show on the on OBS for whatever reason. It wants to hide that window. But it is the Fallout 4 tweaker. Follow the instructions that BuyRateBet gives you on the site, and you'll have no problems. And I'll just go through that one more time. I'm just very, very surprised that it doesn't show up in OBS. It's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. I mean, it's quite bizarre to me that I can see it right here on my screen. You can actually see the cursor moving around, and yet you guys can't see it. So tweaks would be invalidate archives, which I've already done. Fix sensitivity ratio. Okay. I've already copied everything, so I'm just going to kind of skip through this. And you should hit save after each value. And then performance, number of threads for high priority, unselect radial, blur, select high priority, and then in camera you're going to go 85, 80, 80. Textures decal is going to be recommended. UI is going to be disable FX, and then all the color preferences. Gameplay is going to be difficulty 5. I'm just amazed that this is not showing up. It's very, very strange. Okay, audio. And save. And then overwrite preference in the game directory and settings. And then save and exit. So it's strange that it didn't show up on my screen. I don't know why. We've already been through Beth, I, and I. We've already been through this together. So E and B series. We're going to close these up a little bit here, clean things up a little bit. So ENB series, we're going to download the file, which I already have. I went ahead and downloaded a lot of these things ahead of time so I wouldn't have to waste a whole lot of time downloading. Okay, so I should have this in my downloads folder. Which maybe I do not, so it's okay. We'll go ahead and download it. Download the file in the wrapper and open the wrapper folder. Okay, you always want to read your license agreement stuff. I'm going to go ahead and allow JavaScript on this page. Okay, uninstalling, do not remove it from the system folder or Windows. Let me check and see if I've actually got it in my Fallout 4 directory. So I do not. I'm sure I don't have it in my games either. That's why I create all those shortcuts for the easy peasy. Okay. Show in folder. All right, so we can open 7-zip. Okay, so we've got the ENB structure maker zip. And we're going to want to extract that. Of course, we're going to extract that to our Fallout 4 directory. And I just do a Control-C for a copy. And bada bing, bada boom. There we go. It brought it right here. Let's take a look at the README. Okay. It's always important to follow instructions. So download the file and open the wrapper folder. See what else we got going on over here. So what version do we want? Doesn't say. So let's read through this real quick. Compatibility issues, some version are just patches. So I'm going to go with the latest version that I can possibly get. Okay. Added new AO type with self-intersecting increased performance of SSAO SSIL effect. I always like to look through the change logs here. Okay. ambient occlusion, fog parameters. Okay, we got a speed patch hack without graphics. It's going to make changes to my ENB local INI. Okay, so let's just go ahead and download. And then we'll show in folder. So here we go, and we're going to extract. To my Fallout 4 primary directory. Which I'm going to shortcut. I've used that same shortcut. So here we go. Wrapper version. Okay, so what do our directions say? It says download the file and open the wrapper folder, extract the D3D11DLL. Or, yeah, D3D11.dll and the D3D compiler 46E to my main directory. So that would be these two. Okay. So I'm going to cut, paste it into the main directory. Okay, so that's done. All right. Now, download my BRB ENB miscellaneous file and extract all files to the Fallout 4 main folder. So, this is bitrate Bex bonus for us. So, this is his BRB ENB preset. Okay. And extract all files to the Fallout 4 main folder. So I'm going to do, instead of using the mod manager, I'm going to go ahead and just do a manual install. Okay. So, show in folder. There it is. Pull out my 7-zip. There it is. Going to extract. I've already got my file pathway set. Or not. Doesn't matter because I can go right back to my handy dandy directory guide that I use to make my life very easy. And there we go. Okay. And that should end up in my Fallout directory, which it did. There's my preset from bitrate Beck. Now, what does this instruction say? Extract all files to the Fallout 4 main folder. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull everything inside of this folder, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to move and replace everything. And then I've got an empty folder here, which I'm just going to discard. Okay. Now it says for more performance, we want to disable ambient occlusion during Beth INI and open the ENB series.ini file from the Fallout 4 main folder. And under the effect tab, we're going to change enable SSAO to true. And I want more performance because I add a lot of mods. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Beth INI. Okay. Make sure everything can be seen on my screen here. All right. And we want to disable ambient occlusion under performance. So we've got setup, basic, general, gameplay, interface, detail. Well, I know I want recommended tweaks. I know I want them read only. No, I want high. I don't think I need intro music. I do want to disable the tutorials. I do want sprint fix. Okay, we're going back up to Beth INI. Okay, basic. Unselect the make INIs read only. So we want to unselect that. Basic, preset of your preference. So usually mine goes to ultra, but I set mine back to high. Recommended tweaks. Always active. Enable file selection. Load loose files. I don't see anything about vsync. I do want window mode. Okay. Going on to gameplay. Sprint fix. Okay, I don't need an always run by default. Interface. He's got both dialogue subtitles and general subtitles. I don't like that. Toggles Bethesda's built-in modding platform, including Creation Club. Removes mods from the menus, grays out the Creation Club, and removes Creation Club news. I'm not gonna use the built-in modding platform because I don't want any conflicts if I decide to use something different. I can always change it later. Detail. Field of view, 80. Says unselect bokeh and or motion blur. For ambient occlusion, I recommend select none if you plan on using my ENB below to improve performance by using instead the SSAO from the BRB ENB, which is what we're using. So we'll go with none. Particles, 750. Shadow resolution, 2048. Exterior draw distance, 8,000. Okay, so we go back to the basic tab, save and exit. Okay, now we're going to open Documents, My Games, Fallout. Okay, and we're just going to check this again. So I have a shortcut here. Okay. All right. And we need to go to Fallout INI and Fallout 4 Custom INI. So we got the Fallout 4 INI here. And under display, we want B multi-threading 1 or B multi-threaded rendering equals 1. So I'm going to hit Control C to copy that in. See, I've already got it. B multi-threading threaded rendering 1. So it's already in display. No need to do that again. File, save, close. Now let's take a look at the custom INI, which is this one. And we'll go down to display, rendering 1, so it does match. Boom, boom. Okay. Now let's look at Papyrus. Okay. Enable logging, profiling, trace, debug information. Okay, F post update time MS should be 500. So let's just go ahead and delete all this here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy what's here. Control C. Let's do an undo, make sure I didn't get the wrong spot. All right, good. And hit Control V to paste that in. All right, we're going to file, save, close that. We're going to go back to the other one and take a look at the Papyrus here and make sure that it matches. Okay, logging, profiling, trace, 0. The MS should be, okay, the 2.4, budget, extra task budget. So it looks right, but it's not in order. So I'm just going to do it again to make sure that it's absolutely correct. It looked correct, but I always like to double check. Okay, so we'll close that. We're going to save that. Close that up. All right. So we've already got the wrapper in the right spot. This is our main Fallout 4 directory. Okay. So there's our D311 DLL, and there's our D3D compiler 46E. Okay. Now we have his or do we? So let me check here. What did we pull from downloads? Yeah, we pulled his, and then we pulled it out and dropped it into the main file here. And for more performance, what we want to do is disable ambient occlusion during Beth INI and open up the EMB series INI file from the Fallout 4 main folder. So we should have a B&B INI. So let's see. So we have an EMB series INI file from the Fallout 4 main folder. That would be this one right here. And under the Effect tab, we are going to change Enable SSAO to True. So we have SSAO right now at false, and we're going to enable that to true. and File, Save. Now it says for more quality, we want to open the EMB series .ini file from the Fallout 4 main directory. Under the Effect tab, change Enable Detailed Shadow equals True. So here we go. Or enable Depth of Field equals True at performance costs. 4 frames per second depth of field and 2 frames per second for the detailed shadows. Now I can handle quite frankly, I don't think I really need high resolution shadows or high resolution. I don't really need depth of field, so I'm not going to take the hit, because I'm going to have a lot of processing power that's going to need to be used to ensure that the multiple enemies that I have spawning in for random patrols and other things of that nature, and all the weapons and the tactics and the fact that the bodies are going to stick around longer, and I mean, there's just going to be a whole lot in there that's modifying the game that's going to soak up a lot of my processing power. So just for like little tiny tweaks in graphics like that, I'm willing to move more towards performance over visual. So we're just going to save that and close it up. Okay. All right. So we could have a low res bug, but I'm not going to play with my memory categories right now. Well, maybe I will, because I do have, I believe, I have 8 gigs of RAM. That I can apply to this. Let's check. Okay, so I've got 18 gigs of RAM. So, let's go with I'm going to go with 17,000 and see where we are with that. So let's go ahead and pop in the EMB INI local and see where we are right now. So right now we're at 13, which is going to be just fine. I'm going to leave it at 13. And I'm not going to force the video memory size. I'm going to let it float. And if I have a problem with it, then I'll force it and not let it float. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and let it float. All right. So let's just save that, close that up. Okay, we've already gone through Fallout 4 Edit. We've already scrubbed some files. But just to refresh your memory, because I probably actually will delete that other number 2 tutorial, because I realized a lot didn't show up there. So let's bust out FO4 Edit. Okay, and this is, I'm going to make shortcuts for these. Now 64 you don't need to use unless the other shortcut is not working. And the QAC is the quick clean. So it's, and how you name the file, it actually brings in a command that instead of having to go through F04 edit like this, I'm going to show you how there's one way to do it and yet another way to do it. Now I've already cleaned these files. But if you actually put the command line in there, let's see, let's bring up this. There is a README, okay, that tells you how to do these things. There's also resources right here at the top. Gamer Poets does an excellent tutorial on that will teach you everything you need to know. Okay. You can also find that in my resources on my YouTube page, because I've got a lot of these saved in my own YouTube page. So you can go to my channel, and then you could pop down to let's see, modding resources collection, and you're going to find everything you need right in here. And I do try to find the best of what I can find to make it easy for you. Okay. So well, I'm not going to do it this way because I've already got my quick command in there. And anytime you exit it, it's automatically going to save. So what you would need to do with F04 edit, you need to clean each module. Okay. So I've already created the shortcut with the auto clean in command, and there is even a larger README file. It's in PDF, and I've got this printed, and it's definitely worth a look if you intend to use Fallout F04 edit, because it's just a great tool. It's an outstanding tool. So I always print a copy of this and put it in a binder so I can take a look at these things for quick reference. Because there's a whole lot you can do with F04 edit. Okay. So let's use F04 edit the quick command here. All right, and we're just going to do that with robot. Now I've already scrubbed these, but well, you don't need to load the primary module because it's automatically going to load that module because that's what it's comparing robot to. These are the larger the DLC, the longer this is going to take. Now, my recommendation to you is while you're waiting for these things to come through and clean, you need to already be ahead of the game or of the what it's going to take to finish this load with your textures. So you're going to need the performance add-on, and you're going to need the main repack, and it's going to take several hours for it to download because they're very large files. So you take a look here, and you're going to see that the files are pretty large. All right, I've already downloaded them, but that's, you know, you've got 7 gigs here, 8.5 here, 9 gigs here. Okay, and then your performance is 9.3 gigs. So you might want to do that before you go to bed, or, you know, while you're doing something else. All right. Now, all right, we've auto cleaned this, and all I have to do is close the window. Okay, I'm going to do it again. This time I'm going to do it for workshop. Now I clean these in tutorial in that second tutorial, which I'm probably going to delete because I didn't realize a lot of things were not showing up in my browser, being in the way. So second is auto clean. Let's go ahead and do Coast, which is Coast, Robot. Nuka World's the biggest. Coast is probably second biggest, and Robot's probably the third as far as time it takes to process all this out. And just getting everything auto clean. And like I said, there's resources up here that you can explore while you're waiting for this. Don't forget to there's a Patreon up here because these guys, of course, put in the work and they're not paid. The only way that the modding community can be successful is if you find value in the work to donate. Now, unfortunately, I'm the kind of guy that doesn't get paid for my work very much either, so unfortunately I don't really have an opportunity to donate. If I did, I certainly would. If YouTube was the type of thing that yielded a little bit of money, if I was to monetize anything, I would monetize my Fallout videos so I could then take the profits from that YouTube video or whatever, and then turn it around and donate it right back into Nexus Mods. I can make my bills, but I don't really have anything else extra over top of that. So it would be that type of thing. I really believe in money velocity, and anything that I would get through, whether it be Patreon or whether it be YouTube or whatever, it would go right back into the pot, because that's the only way the modding community moves forward. I wish I could convince people to bigger businesses and banks and things like that, which I'm trying to do. I'm trying to reach out to the oligarchical class and let them know how important it is to fund these projects in order to get liquidity into the markets, instead of just printing QE and it gets all stuck up at the top, to actually be able to finance these programs, finance this work. And that increases money velocity out here, and that's good for the economy. It also establishes international relationships. And it's clearly going through this a lot quicker because I scrubbed these files the other day. But it's I work with people in Germany. I work with people in the UK. I work with people in France. So I think there's even a Brazilian that pops in the channel every once in a while. So it's really an international effort. It's a way to improve international relations. It's a way to create relationships, international relationships, in which, if investors and businesses realized that these networks and communities already exist, it could be very beneficial to their business, and they could find ways to have talent pools to pull from. All it requires is a little bit of charitability. So I'm still making that case very hard. All right, so we've got those things scrubbed down. And I don't really need all these extra windows open. Yeah. So let's go back to where we were. Now we need Fallout 4. Fallout 4 script extender. So what we're going to do is open that link in new tab. Okay. And Fallout 4 is, this is the version right here. So we're going to go ahead and download it. And open that, showing the folder. Okay, so this is our latest version of the Fallout 4 script extender. So we'll use 7-zip here. And now we've got our Fallout 4 script extender right there. And where does it need to go? You have to extract the data folder and the custom control map F4SE1 _10 _130 DLL F4SE _loader.x the executable F4SE _steam loader files to the Fallout 4 main directory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just extract it right into my downloads folder, and I'm going to pull everything from there. So let's open up downloads, and there it is. Okay. So we've got the data folder, the custom control map, there, F4SE _1 _10 _130, and the loader executable, which would be this, and this. Okay. So I'm just going to take everything that's here and just bring the whole thing. I'm just going to cut it, and I'm going to just move that right straight into my entire into my Fallout 4 directory. So this would have been the wrong one. Okay. So it's important to pay attention to which file directory you're in. So this would be my primary, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste what was in there. I'm going to merge my data. Yes. All right, easy peasy, it's all in there. And we've got a README, so it's a good idea to go ahead and pop in and take a look at the README. All right, alpha support for Papyrus. Okay, for compatibility. All right, so as is, all good. And we're in the primary directory here. And whatever else we had, it merged. Okay. All right. Okay, so it says every time you want to play the game, you must launch the F4SE loader.execute in your main Fallout 4 directory. So to make things easier, you want to click on your F4SE _loader.executable and send to the desktop. So this is exactly what we're going to do. So there's my loader. Okay, and I'm going to send to desktop. All right. And we're going to change the icon. And this does a couple of things for us. That's the icon I want. Now this does a couple of things for us. As we load from here, what that's going to do is that's going to prevent Steam from loading the game. Okay, because most of us get our games through Steam nowadays, and what will happen is Steam will want to update the game every time it's launched. So when you go into Steam, which I'm going to do right now, before we go any further, because this is absolutely crucial for you to understand, because this is like the fastest way for suck to enter your life. So what you want to do is you want to go to properties. See, I really hate the idea that Steam is always trying to get in here and update my shit and change it around, quite frankly. So it says update. It says only update this game when I launch it. And you mean that. You freaking mean that. Because if you launch anything other than your Fallout 4 script extender, it's going to update the game, and which it might make the existing mods that you have in, and everything seems to fit and work, and everything's working beautifully and properly, and Bethesda decides to update Fallout 4 for whatever reason, and they're going to jack your shit up. It's happened to me on a number of occasions, and this is actually one of the reasons that I'm doing this tutorial now. Well, there's two reasons. One, I loaded a lot of assets into the game last time, and then I had some problems with some textures, and also bitrate back is always improving, and so sometimes I just feel it necessary to catch up with him. And knowing that I had some texture problems to begin with, and too many assets loaded into the game, and too much junk around, I thought it would be a good idea to go ahead and clean things up a little bit. So now we'll be launching the game, bam, from there. Alright, now the XSE plugin preloader F4. This is awesome because this is like a it's basically an accelerator. It basically preloads a lot of assets. So what does it do? It allows you to load your plugins before the game initializes. So all the plugins that you have, you could have, I think the maximum is 255. So it's very nice to have this tool. So it takes a little bit more load time in the beginning, and then boom, your loads from then on out are going to be a lot faster. Yeah, you can read and get the source code and everything. Alright, so I'm going to get the newest version, and I'm going to manually download that. Boom. And I'm going to open that, show in folder. Okay. And what does the guide say we need to do? We need to download the file manually and open it. We need to extract the two files inside of it to the main directory. So we're going to pull out the handy dandy 7-zip, preloader, extract, and what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to go ahead and just extract it into my downloads folder. Should be fine. And then we've got our preloader here, and these are the two main folders here. And I'm just going to grab those 2 files and just cut them. Let's see, downloads. Let's just cut them. Okay, so Fallout 4, is this the right directory? Yes, it is. And paste that right in there. Boom, so we've got our preloaders in there. Awesome. And then this folder is kind of useless, so we're going to get rid of it. There. Keep things nice and clean. Cleanliness is godliness. And we can get rid of this one too. All right. So, I don't need that right now. Okay, textures optimization. Now, in your Fallout 4 data folder, you have 15 BA2 files dedicated to textures having a size of 17.5 gigabytes. All right, that's a lot. Okay. Normally what you do in installing textures mod as loose files, or in best case, as new added BA2 files, but these textures you're installing, even in the 15 BA2 files, you yet have in your data folder just modded. So when you start installing textures, really heavy usually, or performance textures and so on, you add to this many gigs of textures for more gigs to the game, for the game to load, making the game extremely more unstable, heavy, and slow in performance. So Buy Rate Back has done an incredible service for us all, and we need to show love and support for this. This is awesome, awesome, awesome. You know, if there were, it's the difference between a mere mortal and a man like Buy Rate Back. Okay. So what he's done is he's basically managed to take a utility that's going to he's basically packed all these wonderful textures for us, all of these, okay, which is a lot, and optimized it for us. So, you know, people that do textures often don't get the credit that they deserve. You know, everything, you know, when it comes to armors or costumes, or, you know, the big breasts on the CBBE and all that stuff, the sexy stuff, gets all the love. But it's this texture optimization that makes the game beautiful and runs smoothly. And it's a lot of work that goes into this, because they are optimizing these textures to make things look 3D with, you know, pulling out the garbage and giving you that really enhancing the optical illusion, and therefore making the game run a lot more smoothly and beautifully. So make sure that you go over and give each one of these mod authors a endorsement, and if you have the resources, make sure that you donate to the people that make textures and also audio, but we'll get to that later. Because, you know, the weapons mods guys, of course, because that's the super sexy stuff, they get a little bit more love than the guys that do textures. And I can't tell you how important that is. Okay, so I've already downloaded the workspace file, but you could find it in his main files tab here. I've just got workspace. Let's see, where did I put it? This is something I'm using for reticles. So workspace file. Alright, so maybe I haven't brought up his workspace file yet. because I was really trying to show you guys exactly what it would take to do a ground up. So let's go ahead and download that workspace. All right, we're going to show in folder. And what is his instruction? Okay. You want to extract it to a drive that has a lot of free space. Do not put it in either program files or program files 86 folders operating on your system drive. Okay. So for me, what's going to be a good place? I want to do it on my SSD. So let's see. I'm going to pop over here. And I'm going to go into games. All right, so I've already got my workspace in there because it just makes sense as that's where I would have put it. So if I was to use 7-zip, I would extract the workspace like so into games. So SSD games. That's what I would do and what I have done. And that's what you would do. You would just go bam, extract, and make sure your file directory was correct, just like I've shown many times before. And that would be E, not program files, but E games. Okay. For me, for you, it may be on the C drive if you only have one hard drive. Okay, so my workspace is already there. All right, I'm going to open that up. And this is what I've got inside. Nothing. Okay. So what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to copy the following 15 textures from the Fallout 4 data folder to the workspace original BA2 folder. Always keep a backup of these files. And there's a number of reasons for this. One reason is that if Bethesda comes in and does one of those upgrades or one of those, well, I wouldn't really call it an upgrade, but when Bethesda decides to do an update, you still have your original textures in there. And because it takes so long, you've got the backup, and then you can play with them and modify them as you'd like to. So I'm going to go back to my Fallout 4 directory. I'm going to go into data, and I'm going to pull those 15 files, those BA2s. Okay. So he's very specific about what BA2s you need to pull, and we're going to do exactly as he says. Okay. So we need Fallout 4, Textures 1, okay, that's this one. BA2, that's this one. Textures 3, that's this one. 4, that's this one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we want our DLC workshop. And all I'm doing is holding shift while I select these. So DLC workshop 01, textures BA2. Oops, didn't mean to get all that there. Oopsies. All right, let me get this. I'm just going to do a shift all the way through that, and then I'm going to hit control to get my texture from workshop 1. And I'm holding control for, let's see, I need textures from workshop 2. And I'm holding control for textures from workshop 3. And from DLC robot, I need textures. And I need textures from DLC coast. Okay, and I need textures from DLC Nuka World. All right, so he says copy. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna right click and copy, and then into my original BA2, I'm going to paste. Now this is going to take a little time, but because it is on my solid state drive, it's not going to take forever. And that's why I like to work on my solid state drive when I'm working with such large files. If you're, your standard hard drive would probably be significantly slower, and that's why I recommend anybody that's doing modding or moving around large graphics files and things of that nature, go ahead and just spend the extra couple of bucks for a solid state drive. And it's a little bit easier on the equipment too when you're doing that level of moving around such large files on your standard magnetic drive, like your standard hard drive. It's kind of tough on the hardware, and you need to defrag it and all kinds of other stuff to maintain that properly. As long as you have enough space on your solid state drive, you don't fill it all the way up, it's gonna operate very effectively. It's gonna do very, very well. So just the main thing that you need to remember about your solid state drives is just don't fill them all the way up. Leave a good portion of empty space there, and they'll function a little bit better. Okay, so it says we've got 20 minutes remaining on that, so we're going to let those textures move over, and we're going to start looking ahead, okay, to what we can download next. All right, so we need the private profile redirector. So we're going to open that. And I'm going to bring this out a little bit more here. And there's nothing that says, at this point, there's nothing that says that we can't use the mod manager. So unless it says that I need to do a manual, I'm just going to use the mod manager. So, bam, we're just going to mod manager download. Download, yes. And that's going to open up my Nexus Mod Manager, so I can actually watch these files download. Okay. So, pause. I don't want it paused. Waiting for the login attempt. All right, let me make sure I'm logged in here, which I am. So, let's see. It's going to want my login credentials. Let's try it another way. All right, it wants my password and whatnot. So I'm going to move that to another screen so you guys are not going to be looking at that too much. That's just for my own security. My apologies, but it's none of your damn business. All right. I kid, but not really. All right, give me just a second. Oh, shit. Do I even remember what my password is? That's one of those types of things that I mix up so often. And I believe that I know what the right solution is. All right. Let me see here. I will figure it out. I keep a little password file around, but I definitely don't keep it on my hard drive, that's for sure. Layers upon layers of security. It's kind of a pain in the ass because, of course, sometimes you forget what your own shit is. I could use BitLocker, but I'm just that kind of guy that's that kind of fucking lazy. Or I like offsite sort of hard copy password storage. One of those beautiful things that you just learn after time that it's not gonna be safe if it is at all on a computer. It is not safe. There is no level of security that is going to be high enough to satisfy. Let's try. Son of a bitch. I might have to reset. Let me see. I got one more thing to try here. Because I just used random alphanumeric type of passwords, and that makes them very difficult to remember, but it also makes them very difficult, if not possible, to crack. And I know it's just something like Nexus mods, so it shouldn't be like that big a deal. But it's just a general practice everybody should be in is being very, very careful with their passwords. All right, bada bang, back in business. All right. Okay. Let's see where we are with the transfer of the files. 14 minutes remaining. And we're getting on right now with the business of downloading what we need to download. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. Profile, private profile redirector F4. So we can just go ahead and use the mod manager download. Download, yes. And we can look right over here, and it is downloading. Complete. Lovely. Yeah. So you can see where the +1 is in bug fixes. That's what we have there. Now I can't really do anything as far as activating these mods. I'm just saving time by downloading them while I'm waiting for those files to move. 13 minutes left on that. So we're just going to keep moving through what buy rate back requires. Achievements. I'm just going to open a couple of these windows all at once and get them all downloaded. So achievements, and download that. And we're going to get the mod configuration menu. Get that. And we'll get the... Did we double up on mod configuration menu? Apparently I did. Faster workshop. Yeah, gonna download that. Now, if you're not familiar with these files, look at the readmes. Okay. I mean, read the descriptions, read what it does. All right, I've read all these things before, so I know what it does. But if you don't take the time to read what it does, and then it's also a very good idea to read the change logs and the requirements, because sometimes you're going to see what connects. I also like to look at the posts, and definitely if there's any articles, I like to read the articles. Okay, so we've done that, and we're going to go ahead and grab the crafting highlight fix. So, boom, we're downloading, checking to see like how much time is left on the copy of the files. So we can press on with the downloads that we're going to need. I'm just going to knock these windows out. We're going to move on with what Buyrate Beck says. So we're just kind of doing it in segments. We're going to get the unofficial Fallout 4 patch, raw input, companion stealth distance fix, merge mods fixes. So download. And the raw input. Download. I mean, the key is efficiency. And download. And again, I've said if I were not already intimately familiar with these files, and what I need here is the merge mods fixes. If I were not intimately familiar with these files already, I would be looking at the forum. I would be looking at the articles, most definitely. And I think you'll find me lurking around in a lot of these types of places, trying to improve, especially in better locational damage. Typically, when I work with Buyrate Beck, I work with him through Discord. It's just a great place where we talk about mod improvement and all kinds of stuff like that, and announcements and things that he's done. Okay. All right, let's make sure all those downloaded in. The last one that we would be looking at was merge mods and fixes. All right, so we can just knock these out. And we'll download the looks menu compendium because we got 8 minutes left still on the file transfer of those big BA2 files. So I'm going to do this first here. Looks menu, which is very cool. All I need is the mod manager version. Now this is going to take a little time to download. Okay, so I just want the primary, but it's pretty large file size. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Okay. FSM body textures. Okay, what are we looking at here? Download the first main file and install it. During the installer, click next, so on and so forth. So we'll revisit that, but what do we want? We want the first main file. Okay. Base female clean. And then the head rear fix, we're going to download that file manually. So we're just going to go ahead and download that manually. And then I'll just go into my downloads folder. Again, I can't do anything with it until I've fully completed my textures. And that requires all these BA2s to be copied. So this is just a way to work efficiently. Yeah. So we'll just pull that downloads file. I'll just pull that off the side of the screen here. All right, and we'll grab this, and this, and this. So this is what our download manager is looking like. Armorsmith Extended. Now this I haven't seen yet. That was in 2016, so yeah. What you kind of want to do oftentimes is look at the date that it's uploaded. Look at the version number. Sometimes you want to preview the file contents. And then you look at the optional files sometimes and see when they were uploaded. So all this is Armorsmith Extended. So let's just mod manager download. Okay. And then the CBB underwear retexture for Armorsmith Extended. Okay. So mod menu, mod manager downloads. See, I don't use Vortex. I don't suggest that you use Vortex either. I suggest that you use the mod manager. Okay. So we've got a lot of downloads going on here. We have one error, and that is with the unofficial Fallout 4 patch. So I've got that queued back up again. And probably the wise thing to do would be to go back and make sure. So I'm going to open that up again. And I'm going to download. And this particular one, I'm just going to cancel that one. and let this next one queue to not overload it, because I'm banging the server hard, grabbing a bunch of stuff here. All right, so we'll just let a lot of things download. So you can see, you know, the file size are quite significant in some instances, especially when you're dealing with CBBE. Okay, so you can see the download times on that. So always why I try and get a little bit ahead of the game when it comes to downloading, even though I can't really use these mods for anything yet. Okay. So let's close that up and see how far away we are. We got 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And let's just really doesn't like to do more than 5 at a time. So we'll add one more to it. We'll do the extended dialogue interface. Now, extended dialogue interface can be a little finicky, but I like it. I'm going to take you down to the end of Byte Beck's guide here, just to let you know like what happens. Okay, when the game gets an official update, and this is what I've talked about before, update your Fallout 4 script extender, which is usually a couple of days behind a Bethesda update. But your Fallout 4 script extender and the mods using its full features will be broken, causing a crash to desktop on the launch, and that sucks. So, like I've said before, you want to make sure that only updates when you launch it. And as you are typically launching from the Fallout 4 script extender, it's not going to automatically be updating. But if it does get updated, these are the things that you're going to have to work with, and hope that the official update has not annihilated you. But part of that is the extended dialogue interface. All right, let's see where we are with our downloads. So we're at 4. We could put another one in there. Let's see where we are with our okay, so we now have everything, all of our original BA2s in the workbase folder in the right spot, copied from our Fallout 4 directory. Okay. So let's go back to where we need to be. All right, performance add-on. Add-ons can be installed before the main repack to improve performance or quality of textures not covered in the main repack. And that's what we're going to do. I like the performance add-on because I find the quality loss to be minimal, absolutely minimal. And I need that extra little bit of processing power, of course, for the pack attack AI and all the other weapons and better locational damage and just the highly immersive stuff that's added to the game. So I like to squeeze every little bit of extra performance that I can out of the game. So what I'm going to do is okay, I've got my workspace here, and in my downloads I have my main repacks. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for the performance add-on. Okay, the steps takes quite a while to fully complete and can be considered optional for the execution order. So you'll be able to do the following steps before this one if you prefer. If you start the step before doing at least one of the following steps, be sure to rename the textures folder and the Fallout 4 data folder to textures 1, do sections 1, 2, and 3 of the step, and then rename textures 1 back to textures. So I've got my backup already. And now it looks like we're going to just straight up install into the data folder. Data should be textures. Okay. Move the Fallout 4 data textures folder so that it is no longer in data. All right. So here's our Fallout 4 primary directory. There's data. Okay. So it looks like we will be extracting everything right into here. So I hit Control C. I'm also going to add it to my little handy dandy directory that I'm using here. I'm making sure I'm not missing anything because this is critical. All right. Now I'm going to take 7-zip. I've got my optional repack performance add-on. Okay, I'm going to extract that to data. I'm getting a little nervous because I want to make absolutely certain that I'm doing this correctly. So I think I'm going to have to just go right into data. Okay. And extract. Okay. It's taken all that textures and it's going to extract them right into my data file in my primary directory. And this is going to take some time. And as this is working, of course, we're going to move on. Got things downloading here. We're going to move on and get the things that we haven't gotten yet. What was the last thing that we picked up? The extended dialogue interface. So DEF UI is next. We're going to download both main files. Okay. We're going to get his HUD preset or HUD preset because it's a good one. I like it. Works really well with Immersion. Okay, we're going to get Vladisil's item sorting. We're going to download the main file. Okay, so this was November 2016, 2017, 2017, 2017. Okay. And then he says we want armor by class, cosmetics by class, and weapons update files. So we're going to get armor by class. Check, check. All right, just make sure the mic's still working there. We're going to get cosmetics by class. And we're going to get the weapons. Okay. Looking good so far. Okay, and clearly we're extracting from the performance add-on to the primary data file for the primary Fallout 4 directory. Clearly gonna take some time. All right, we'll get the DFUI icon libs. And I personally like subtle color, and so does he. And HUD framework. So the main file and the compatibility patch. Okay. Everything's looking good so far. And we'll just press on with the downloads. Power Armor, Hollow HUD, Immersive HUD, and I do like the first-person camera height fix. Now, the things that he has in yellow are optional. So we've got two things here for the PA Hollow HUD. We got one that's we got two here. We got ultra wide, which I'd rather not have. So let's take a look at the change log. That's fine. Okay, that works for me. I love it when I don't see any bugs over here. So this is the one that I want. iHUD, immersive HUD. Okay. I love to use this because this is what makes immersion so great, or so easy, and I can basically hotkey my HUD to come up occasionally if I need, maybe if I need my compass, maybe if I need to see how many rounds will fit in a gun, or if I need to see my status effects, or if I need to see what's going on in sim settlements, I can hotkey different things by using immersive HUD. Typically, I have everything off. You're only going to see my HUDs pop up when my health falls below 33%, or my AP falls below 33%. Because if my health falls below 33%, I need to know it, because I'm literally seconds away from death in agony and better locational damage. If my AP falls below 33%, I have to see that, basically to know that I'm running out of stamina when I'm running along or something of that nature. Okay. And then we'll just grab this tweak here. So this was redone on August 18th, which is great. So it's only going to download 5 at a time, unless you have a premium membership. If anybody ever wanted to donate to my channel, I would definitely, like I say, move the money velocity right over to Nexus Mods and buy the premium membership. I mean, I'm a member in good standing, but I'm just one broke guy, so I do what I can to add as much as I can to the community, to offer them feedback and show where certain types of things are running, what's basically what's going on. So let me just give you an example of that while we're kind of playing around here. So I've loaded a number of images so people can see what some of the mods look like. So that would be the, one of my favorites, probably my favorite mod, because I just think it's so friggin' sexy. That MAC-10. In real life, one of my favorite guns is the MAC-10. I know it's not, like the best weapon in the world, but like as far, like compared to, your M1A1 or anything like that. And then I, of course, provide all the information regarding, what was taken, to make this image. But a MAC-10 in 10mm is essentially 40 caliber. If it's in 45 caliber, it's a MAC-11. This particular mod can be chambered for 32, 10mm, and I believe 45. And the 10mm, each one is going to have like the 32 is going to have more magazine capacity. The 10mm is going to have a little less magazine capacity. The 45 is going to have a little less magazine capacity. This has got the extended mag on it, so it's got 64 rounds in that magazine, which you can blow through in, I don't know, I think I could blow through that entire 64 round magazine in like 10 seconds or less. So the one thing about this mod is it does require a like a recoil control patch to actually make it so you can hit things with it. But it is so fun, triple degree badass, to go in Pulp Fiction style and just light people up with that mini Mac. It's kind of like it's excellent to clear buildings with. I like to clear interior buildings, the interiors with it. I kind of use it in the same way that I would use a shotgun, except I use it against you know, like if I have to do kind of a tactical kind of quiet entry. You know, a shotgun is going to do knockback and knock medium-sized creatures down and stuff. This thing, you're just going to pump them so full of rounds, they're going to pop. And it does have a fairly good armor penetration. And then just the sheer amount of rounds that you're kicking out of the gun is, you know, you could look at it as a drawback in, you know, from one perspective, because you're blowing through so much ammunition. But if you have a good enough fire discipline, it's a hell of a fun weapon. All right, let's see where we are. They're still unpacking. I'm gonna have to probably take a break and get a glass of water here. All right. And we've still got things downloading. You know, the big files. Now, this is where I disagree with Buyrate Back. I don't use visible weapons. I don't use just visible holstered weapons, and I don't use holsters and sheaths. I just don't think it's necessary. It does add like a little bit of extra immersion, but I don't, for the extra weapons and explosives and things that I like to add into the game, I just don't find that, you know, to have the visible weapon on your back or on your side or whatever. I don't run around a whole lot in third person. If you've seen my videos, typically when you see me move to third person, it's when I'm reloading a weapon, so you guys can see how clean or neat the animations are for the particular mods that I have loaded, the weapon mods that I have loaded, so you can see the smooth action. Or when I'm running, or when, you know, I need to see around a corner, you know, have an expanded range of visibility. It's the only time really I'm in third person. It's not the way that I like to play the game, and it's not really the way that Fallout is really designed. I do like that first person perspective, so I don't find any of this to be particularly valuable to me. But you know, depending on what your style is, you may find it valuable to you. So I skip these. I do need the mercenary pack, the mashups, and the harness. So what's it say here? Download the 0.9B main file. So the loose files. This is a big file here. Okay, and I don't want it in BA2 format. And then we're going to get the mercenary mashups. And we'll get the K9 harness. We want the second main file and the Armorsmith plus DEF UI optional file. So the second main file, Would be this bad boy here. And we need the Armorsmith plus D EFUI. So that would be this one. Okay. Just wanted to make sure it was queued. And check our progress. We're about halfway through. So let's check out a couple more things that I've loaded up here. Now, some of these you would have seen on my thumbnails. This again is probably my second favorite mod by Deadpool. And it really is indispensable, the hunting shotgun. I love it. I absolutely love it. Because in my mind, what is the most durable, simple, long-lasting. I mean, I really expect in a post-apocalyptic world there is going to be one weapon that will still be around, and that is going to be the 12-gauge shotgun, and so many different variants. And the pump action, it's just putting the choke on it, and the different barrels, whether they be the shorter shrouded or the longer barrels. The different ways that you can actually kind of have it in kind of a sawed-off variant. Having the small pump and having a greater shell capacity in the hunting shotgun. Just such a cool weapon mod. And while, yes, the combat shotgun is more effective, the street sweeper is more effective, I prefer this because I prefer immersion. I prefer realism. So I use that shotgun to devastating effect. And if you've seen some of my videos, I've gave one to Kate, and she is a friggin' shotgun surgeon. So having that knockback is great against all kinds of targets that are all the way up to medium size. So you're not going to stagger a Yao Guy or a super mutant with a shotgun, but if you're going in and clearing something that are like gunners that have pretty hefty armor on the interior of buildings or something, where you're kind of having close range engagements, or even ghouls in better locational damage where they can take body shots, but they can't take headshots. To stagger those types of creatures before they get up on you, or to stagger them before they can raise their guns, gives you an opportunity to get that second shot on their head. That's going to drop them. So stagger is awesome, and a very, very important thing to bear in mind when you're playing better locational damage with Agony, is the stagger effect of a shotgun. Let's see where we are with this. Alright, well, I'm going to let this file extract here. And I'm going to let these things download. And I will pick it up in a little bit, and we will get almost through most of at least the download and the texture install. Now, it is going to take a long time for the texture utility to run, but at least it's giving you guys an idea of what needs to be done step by step. So I'll pick it up in a minute or two. It's been Hank. Catch you on the flip side. It's been Hank. Catch you on the flip side. Figure I could be that outro.